Good morning, everyone. Can anyone please confirm I'm audible or not? Can you hear me? Is it audible? Yeah, okay then. Last class where we stopped, we completed Redux 1, right? Integration. Okay, how to integrate Redux library in your React application. So let me ask some questions, just answer it. Okay, the first one is like, how we can communicate with reducer? How we can communicate with the reducer? If you want to pass the data to the reducer, I want to communicate with the reducer. Listen carefully. The question is like how we can communicate with the reducer. Okay, let me open the diagram first. Yeah, dispatch. This is our Redux thing. Convert page. Yeah, so this is the reducer, right? How we can communicate with the reducer. Okay, how one person is going to communicate with the reducer means by using dispatch here, who can communicate A and B can communicate with the reducer or not. Okay, now just wait for 1 second. I want one more application. Okay, just I want to write like Redux topics. I want to cover all the topics in this application. So that first of all get our skeleton. You can create React app is there, right? You can create your application by using that command. It takes some time, so that I'm copying from my local mission. So local disk my process, our folder is this one, and Redux topics, all topics. How many topics the actions we are going to cover, tongue we are going to cover, saga we are going to cover, forms we are going to cover, all these we are going to cover in this application. Okay, now let me run the command npm install. Okay, it takes some time, so that just leave it. Let's start our question and answers. How we can communicate with the reducer means your answer is right. One is like by using dispatch. By using dispatch. Dispatch is which type? Dispatch which type? Dispatch type is what? Okay. Dispatch type. I already told you. If you don't know this one, the next topic. Okay, you're not able to understand. But because these are the basic things. Okay, dispatch type is what? Dispatch type. Can you hear me? Can anyone confirm? Am I audible or not? Yeah, at least answer this one. The dispatch, I'm asking like dispatch is which type? Simple. Dispatch is which type? Okay, it's like a function type, right? Why you think more? Why you take more time? Function type, right? How many ways we can get the dispatch? Number of ways. How many ways you can get the dispatch? How many ways you can get the dispatch? 2 ways. What are those? One is like from store. One is like from store we can get it. The another one is like what? Another one is like my connect method. My connect method. Okay, first argument gives me what? First argument gives me the current store data. My second argument gives me what? Your dispatch method or not? Your dispatch method. Okay, perfect. My dispatch method, you said like dispatch is a method which take how many arguments? Come on fast. Dispatch method take how many arguments? Dispatch method take how many arguments? 2 arguments. 1 argument. Perfect. Dispatch method take 1 argument. 1 argument. What is the type of that argument? an argument or not. Inside the object, how many properties you can pass? Or inside the object, how many properties you can pass? Any number of properties. But one of the mandatory properties there. What is the mandatory property? Can anyone tell? My type is the mandatory property or not? Why? Because if you not pass the type, then the time there has some confusion to my reducer. Which one has to update with this data? So that they make like my type is like a mandatory one. They made like my type is like a mandatory one. That is the dispatch method. So for good. Okay. Who want to call dispatch method? Who want to call the dispatch method? That is not call. Who want to use the dispatch method? Who want? General. Okay, general is answer. One answer you can tell. Who want to use dispatch method? Who want to send the data to the reducer? Who want to send the data to the reducer to update within the store? Okay, that guy, okay, call dispatch or not. In this case, component, but you should not stick to components. That's the reason I use like who has data. Okay, that guy want the data to insert it in the store. That guy is going to communicate with the reducer or not. For example, you are one person like one component, another person like one function is there. Okay, you are the you like a component. You have some data. That data I want to store within the Redux store. Then the time you should have to communicate with the reducer. You are the component. Another guy is like a function, one normal JavaScript function. That function also having data. That guy has to communicate with the reducer or not, like that. Okay, who has the data? Who has data? Okay, that data want to update within the store. That guy has to communicate with the reducer. Okay, in this case, in the last example, it's like what? Okay, who has data? Component. In future, that may be a function. Okay, in future, that may be a conc action function. In future, that may be a saga. Whatever it is. Who has data? Stick with this. Now onwards. Understand? Super good. Yes, the next one. How you can provide your store to your application. How you can provide your store to your application. How you can provide store to your application. Yes, by using provider. Okay, provider type is what? Provider type is what? Provider type is what? One. It's a component. It's a component. It's a component. Provider type is a component. How you can do this store to my provider component? How you can give it? As an attribute format. Okay, the attribute value is like my store. What is my key? Can anyone tell? My key is what? Do you want me to keep any key? No, you should not. You should not keep like that. Why? Because already my provider written by whom? Okay, my provider coming from where? From which JS file? My provider coming from which JS file? Which library? Redux. My provider is coming from React Redux library or not. See this. Here, my store is like a Redux spot. You make this available, this store to my app. My app is like React. Okay, here we are using Redux as well as React. So that my provider is coming from which library? React Redux library. So you have to use like a store as well, because already my React Redux people, they retrieve the store by using this.pops.store. So that you should have to use like the store one. Yeah. Did you understand or not? Okay. My reducer type is what? How my reducer looks like? How my reducer looks like? How my reducer looks like? It's a simple JavaScript function or not? Which take how many arguments? Which take how many arguments? Which take how many arguments? 2 arguments. My reducer take like 2 arguments. My first argument is what? My first argument is what? My first argument is like a initial data, current data or not? Initial data. My second argument is what? My second argument is what? My second argument, okay, the data which is coming from outside or not. That may be a component. Okay, who has the data? That guy only, right? Send the data to the reducer. Okay, the data may be coming from component. The data may be coming from a normal function. The data may be coming from a tongue or saga, whatever it is. Understand or not? Okay, so that my second argument, my first argument is like initial data. My second argument is the data which is coming from outside. Can anyone tell? The second argument type is what? My second argument type is what? It's an object or not? That object exactly coming from where? That object coming from where? Okay, coming from my dispatch function argument or not? Dispatch function argument or not? Okay, generalize now. Okay, my second argument coming from, okay, coming from where? Coming from dispatch method argument or not? Okay, who want to dispatch? That guy is going to use dispatch and pass one object as an argument. Okay, once you dispatch, that dispatch is going to communicate with the reducer. Whatever the argument he passed, that one is coming like a second argument to my reducer or not. My reducer second argument is like my dispatch method argument or not. While calling my dispatch, which data you passed, that one. So for good. Okay, now you have your current data, you have the new data. Okay, existing data is there, new data is there. Both what we have to do in the reducer. In the reducer, you should have to merge it and you should have to return the data back or not. Okay, initial data is one object. My new data is like one object. Both has to merge. Both has to merge. And finally, you should have to send back or not. Inside the reducer, how we can differentiate your actions? Okay, this is the action for name update. This is the action for location update. In your reducer, how you can, based on your type or not, based on your type. Okay, that type is coming from first argument or second argument. We taken the type from where? In the reducer, which argument my type contains? My second argument or not, right? Because my dispatch method argument only my second argument or not. Okay, that is an action. Okay, you understand? Okay, then. In your application, how many reducers you can write? In your application, how many reducers you can write? You can write any number of reducers. You can write any number of reducers. Okay, my reducer is like a function. Okay, as usual, you can write any number of functions in your application or not. Is all functions are acting like a reducers? When it is turned to be reducer? When it's turned to be reducer, one function, when it is turned to be a reducer, when we can say like a reducer, whenever it get a capability to update your store. Okay, that one we can say like a reducer. When these guys get a capability to update the store, means these functions has to register with the store or not. Then only that particular function get an extra feature or extra capability to update your store or not. So that which functions are registered with the store, that one we can say like a reducers. So how we can register these reducers with my store? How we can? First of all, what you want me to do? Yes, in your application, any number of reducers you can write. We only said so that how many reducers? Multiple reducers. First of all, do one thing. Combine all the reducers first. How many functions you want me to acting like a reducers? First of all, combine all those functions first. Yes, you combine by using what? Combine reducer. Combine reducers is the method. Combine reducer is the method. Can anyone tell? My combine reducer method coming from which library? My combine reducer method. Combine reducers method coming from which library? I'm asking which library? Redux library. Redux library. Okay, my combine reducer method coming from Redux library. While calling this method, it is asking like what all your reducers, which one you want me to combine like a single one. So my combine reducer take how many arguments? My combine reducer method take how many arguments? It's take only one argument or not. One argument, that is the object. My combine reducer take only one argument, that is what? That is an object. That object contains any number of properties. You can write it, your key and your reducer name, key and reducer, like this you can write it or not. Yes or no? Once you combined all these reducers, what is the next step? Once you combined all these reducers, okay, how we can register with the store? How we can register with the store? If you want to register with the store, first of all, store is required or not. So how we can create the store? How we can create the store? Which method is there to create the store? Create store is the method. Create store is the method. Okay, that create store method. Okay, take your reducers as an argument. Already you combine the reducers, right? Okay, that reducers you can pass as an argument to my create store method or not. That time onwards, all my functions are acting like what? Reducers. It can get some capability to update your store or not. Understand? Okay. Now you store your data in your Redux store. Is this data physically available? Is this data physically available? Are you able to see this data? It is not available. It's not stored in the browser. It's not stored in the browser. So that if it is not stored in the browser, like localhost and session storage or local storage or session storage or cookies, so that it's not visible to us. Okay, if it is not visible to us as a developer, okay, how I can confirm as my code, okay, whatever I written the code for inserting the data, okay, is it working or not as expected? How I know that one means there has one more library is there to log your stored changes. There has one more library is there to log your stored changes. Which library that is? 𝕨𝕒𝕟𝕚 is the library. 𝕨𝕒𝕟 is the library. You should have to use. It's a middleware. It's a middleware. You can use this one, okay, as a middleware. So how many middlewares we are going to discuss the next classes? How many middlewares we are going to discuss next in future? Okay, one is like 𝕨𝕒𝕟, another one is like 𝕨𝕒𝕟, and another one is like Saga. These all we are going to discuss, so that all these middlewares are going to operate something on your store, so that these middlewares has to register with the store again. So how we can register with the store, these middlewares? Okay, again, I have multiple middlewares are there. I want to combine all the middlewares. So to combine all the middlewares, we have one more method is there. Which method that is? Apply middleware is the method. Apply middleware is the method. That method is coming from which library? That method is coming from which library? Redux library. That method is coming from Redux library. Once my apply middleware method you get from the Redux library, you should have to call it by passing your middlewares or not. So apply middleware method take how many arguments? Can anyone guess? Apply middleware method take how many arguments? Okay, you can say like a multiple arguments. It's not an array, multiple arguments. Okay, the first one is like lar. Okay, second one in second middleware is there, comma, thunk. Third one is there, comma, saga. Like this, you can write it. Any number of arguments, you can pass it based on your requirement. So once you combine all the middlewares, this middleware you have to give it to whom? Once you combine all the middlewares, these middlewares you have to give it to whom? Has to register with your store or not. So that create store method is used for creating the store. You should have to pass your middlewares as a second argument to my store method or not, create store method or not. That's it. Up there, understand? Any questions? Okay, then the next one. Yeah, once my data stored within the Redux store, once my data stored within the Redux store, the next level operation is what? The next level operation is what? I should have to, okay, use the data. I want to use the data. So that what you want me to do? If you want to use this data, which is inside the store, I want to get the data into my component or not, then only I can use it or not. So that my component has to connect with the store. So which method is there to connect with the store? Which method is there to connect with the store? My connect is the method. CYNNESVT is a method. Can anyone tell my connect method is coming from which library? Again, my C has to communicate with store. C is like what? C is like a React one. Okay, that one store is like a Redux. So that my connect method which is coming from which library? React Redux library or not? React Redux library or not? So my connect method take how many arguments? My connect method take how many arguments? My connect method take how many arguments? Max 4 arguments. Okay, don't say like 2. We discussed 2, but max 4 arguments it is going to take. Okay, we discussed just 2. Okay, in future I will tell those 2 also. Okay, overall, if anybody asks the question like connect method take how many arguments means, you say like 4. Okay, you can say like 4. Okay, concentrate on first 2 arguments now. The first 2 arguments are like what? Functions or not. The first 2 arguments are like a functions. So that can anyone tell if I pass my first 2 arguments like a functions to my connect method, can anyone tell? My connect method is treated like a higher order function and 2 functions what you passed. Okay, 2 functions what you passed. Those 2 functions are like a callback functions or not. Those 2 functions are like a callback functions or not. So that I given one function to a connect. I given one function to a connect. Okay, I given one function to what? Connect. So my connect again call that function by passing how many arguments? By passing how many arguments? One argument or not? One argument or not? It looks like this. My connect is the method which take one function as an argument. I given this function to my connect. Okay, my connect again call this function. It's a callback. Call this function by passing your store data or not. By passing your store data or not. Same like this. If I pass one more argument, second argument to my connect method, again my connect method is going to call this function by passing which one as an argument? My dispatch as an argument or not? By dispatch as an argument. So that these 2 we can say like a callback methods, and this connect we can say like a higher order function or not. Now my connect method returns me what? My connect method returns me what? My connect method returns me one more function or not? Returns me one more function or not? My connect method returns me one more function. So that just leave it. That is the definition. So once my connect method returns me one more function, you should have to call that function or not. It's a using. I am using that one. Okay, I'm not writing the definition like yesterday. So that my connect method, okay, this one gives me the state and this one gives me the dispatch. How you can give this data to my component? How I can give this data to my component means to which component you want me to send this data, that component you have to pass as an argument of my connect method return function or not. So finally, it returns me what? Whatever the component you pass, the same component it's going to return. Okay, but the difference between the previous C, that is also C only, component name is like C only, and this is also C only. What is the difference between this one and this one? Means this C is like a plain component, and this C like establish the connection with your store component or not. Establish the connection with the store component or not. Once you have the store data or state data, okay, my callback method both returns an object. Both returns an object. Okay, whatever it's going to return, whatever it's written, that one is available to my C. That data is available to my C or not. Now tell me, whatever it's returns, okay, that is available to my C coming from outside or inside this connect method is there. Okay, that data is coming from outside, so outside to my C component or not. Any data which is coming from outside, if my C is like a functional component, then that is like an argument we can take it. But if my C is like a class component, then we can say like a this dot pops dot something like, okay, whatever the keys are there like this, we can retrieve it or not. Yes or no? Understand? Okay, here I want the name. I want the name. So that key, anything you can put it. Can anyone tell? The name inside my store data is nothing but state. Can anyone tell me the hierarchy? The state data managed by whom? Your reducer. My reducer managed with data. The initial data, what are the keys are there? Keys you have to keep it or not. That keys you have to keep. That's it. This is the way we can get the data. This is the hierarchy. Or that data maintained by reducer. Which data? Based on the init data, you can find the keys. Understand? Shall I agree with this? Regarding connect method. Okay, perfect. Okay, this is the basic thing. Okay, this is the basic things. Okay, if you want integrate your Redux in your React application, okay, these are like minimum things you should know, terminology wise and everything. Okay, here this is my store data. This is my store data. Hierarchy is this one. Okay, store data is nothing but state. Okay, state is managed by how many reducers? State is managed by any number of reducers. So that here you can write your reducer name. Okay, that reducer is maintaining some data. What is the data name? Okay, it's not like okay. Reducer is a subset of my state. Okay, my state is not subset of my reducer. All my reducer inside the state, so that you should have to take from my store. Okay, state dot another reducer like that. Okay. Okay, then let's open our Redux topics one. Open folder. What is that? No, this is the one, right? Okay, that connect method will take care. Okay, whatever the function is there, right? Connect method. Okay, this is the one, right? Okay, this is my connect method. Take one function as an argument. Here you return some object. Okay, that object is available like what? That object is available like a prop or not? Okay, see, these all things we operated inside the connect method only or not. That guy, okay, anyway, you passed this C, right? Okay, for that C, they pass as an argument like this only. There is no other option. Okay, inside that, they write like this only. Whatever this object is there, that object passed like a prop. That object they passed like what? Okay, here n equals to this one, whatever n is there. What is that? My state dot my reducer dot okay, reducer dot name. Okay, like this only they handle. Now, if any component, if you pass the data like this, the data is available like what? Available like a prop or not? Okay, that is the thing. That is not in your hand, in your side. Okay, that is done by my connect method React Redux. Okay, done. In the Redux topics, my page should be like this. I'll new save it. Okay. I want like this. Okay, this is the header one, and this is the footer one, and here all my topics I want. What topics is required? How many topics are there? Anyone? My topics are like actions. Okay, the next one. Actions. The next one. Saga. Okay. The next one is like forms. Inside these forms only we'll see end-to-end flow. End-to-end flow, in this case, what we are going to discuss, my React plus Redux is my client. React plus Redux is my client. And my Node.js is my server. And my PostgreSQL is my database. PostgreSQL is my database. We deploy this code. Already GoDaddy we done, AWS we done. Now we are going to deploy this code in Heroku. Okay, we'll deploy this code in Heroku. This is our agenda. Redux one. Okay. Okay, then first complete this. Redux topics is my heading. Redux topics is my heading, and this one is like rights belongs to like this I want. Okay, total how many components are required and everything you can decide. Tell me how we can do it. First of all, which concept you want me to use to get this requirement? Which concept you want me to use? Only React library is enough, or extra library is required for this? Extra library is required or not? Okay, one is like what? Handling routing. Okay, see, React router DOM is required. Routing, right? Actions, Saga. The next one is like you are implementing Redux, so that Redux library is required. Okay, the next one is like React Redux is required, Redux Lager is required, Redux Thunk is required, Redux Saga is required, Redux Forms is required. These many libraries are there. So based on our requirement, Thunk, Saga, Forms, we'll see. Okay, minimum libraries we can install. Okay, so that how many ways we can handle routing? How many ways we can handle routing? How many ways we can handle routing? Two ways. One is like hash routing, and the one is like browser routing. So already hash routing we completed with hash. Now this is the time to discuss about without hash. Without hash. Okay, it's nothing but a browser router. We can use it. Okay, let's do it. Overall, how many components are required? Can you create the components? Just assume enter. How many components are required? Okay, just write it inside the source. Okay, first go to source directory. Okay, otherwise you can right click on this one, reveal in Explorer, not open in terminal. Open in terminal. Now it's directly open inside the source. So create React component. Component, what is that? Header component. Create React component header. The next one is like what? Footer. Okay, the next one is like what? Menu. Okay, the next one is like what? Actions. Okay, action. The next one is like what? Thunk. The next one is like Thunk. The next one is like what? Saga. Okay, the next one is like what? The next one. Forms. Okay, inside the forms only we can write and so that these many components are required or not. These many components are required. So come on, start. Where you want me to write all these things? I have all my components. From where you want me to start? From where you want me to start? Okay, can we install some of the libraries first? Can we install some of the libraries? Which libraries are required? Minimum libraries. npm install. Okay, first React router down is required. Router down is required. React router down. Okay, the next one. Redux is required. So for what you know, just you can. The next one. React Redux is required. The next one. Redux Lager is required. If you want, you can install all the libraries in a single statement by separating with what space, with the space separator. Okay, at last, finally, what we have to do, you should have to make it as like save or not, then only it's going to study inside package.json. Now first, my header and footer and menu. So these are the top level components, right? So that go to my app.js. Just okay, this is not required. Can we load those things? Okay, how we can import my header where in the same folder. Where is that header, right? Okay, it's inside the folder outside. Okay, same folder, right? Okay, header index. The next one, import footer from where? Footer index. Okay, the next one, import menu from where? From my menu. From my menu. Okay, index. Okay, done. All these things, so that there is no issues. My header, my footer, and then in between I want menu. In between I want menu. Okay, then write my header and footer something like this. Okay, my header.jsx. Okay, this is my app.js, app.css, whatever the things are there. Just I want to remove. I don't want. Okay, index.css. For the body margin is there. I want that one margin 0 1. Okay, perfect. Now, can we start with header? Can we start with header? Okay, what's my header? Anyone? Redux topics. Header. Can we write some CSS for this particular one? Okay, already we discussed. Next I'm writing this C subject. The font size. 50 pixel. Font weight. It's like bold. Okay. My background color. Background equals to something you can get it. Okay, my text align center. The next one, font style is like italic or something. Done. Right. So can we run your application? How you can run it? npm start is the command. Now can you go to my folder one? Can you go to my folder one? Yeah. Here my folder. I want it. And copy. Right. Now this is my folder where you want me to register. This is my folder.css. This is the one. Okay, I want at the bottom then. And I put like position is like fixed. Okay, the next my bottom is like what? It's like 0. If it is like fixed, it's done to be inline. So that can we make it like a block level 100%. Can we like line center. And the background color. Like the background is like what? Below. And then my font weight equals to bold. My font size equals to 20 pixels. 20 pixels. My font style is like italic. My header and footer is ready or not. Now check in. 3000. Yeah. My Redux topic. This is the footer. This much is not required. Font size you can remove it. Okay. Yeah. Okay, the next one is what? Menu. Okay, can we concentrate on menu now? Can we go to my menu? Okay, this is not Redux topics or something, just it's like for React only. Okay, let's start. Come on. First, what you require? Okay, one div you can take it. Okay, the next one is like what? My class name. Okay, can you do one thing? Just take one UL. My list items also sometimes like acting like a menu, right? Okay, actions. Okay, the next one is what? Okay, the next one is what? Can anyone? The next one is what? Saga. Okay, the next one is what? The next one is like forms. Okay, see how it looks like. It looks like this, but I want like a menu. Okay, can we write some CSS? Now come here. Okay, first series. This is my UL. This is my UL. This is my UL. Okay, bullet points not required. So that list style is like none. Okay, my UL by default having some margin. I don't want that one. Margin 0. Margin 0. So these two for what? For my UL. So that can I copy this one? Can I copy this one? Can I go to this is the one, right? Can I do like my class name like menu items? Okay, items. Menu items. So can you go to my menu.css? Menu items is this. Okay, done. Now all these list items are like what? Once again, it's done to be like a black level display list item. It's like full width is going to take off my parent list. So I want all my LIs are like inline. So that how we can write all the LIs, how we can put in the selector is like what? My LI is the direct children of menu items or not. So that you can write like display inline. Now I want in the middle. Okay, not middle, right. My text align. My text align equals to right. Done. Now can we give some style for this particular one? We can give it. What is that? My font weight. Font weight how much? Okay, we can go bold. Font style. Okay, the next one is like letter spacing. Okay, 3 pixels. Okay, cursor. It's a LI, right? It's a LI. If it is like LI, then the type it's a normal text. It's not a clickable element or not. I want to give some height and background color. So that can I give like a line height. Line height equals to 30 pixels. My background equals to okay, yellow green or something. Yellow green and see how it looks like. Okay, I want to give some margin. So give like margin right equals to 20 pixel. Okay, now so it's like this. Now see, it's like normal text. See this normal text. I want to make it like what menu item is like a clickable element or not. So how we can make it like a clickable element? I put like a cursor pointer. Yes. Okay, now it shows like a hand symbol, but not like it's not behaving like an anchor, right? My anchor behavior is what? Navigation. If I click on this one, by default, my path is going to change to another route or not, another route path or not. That is the default behavior for my anchor tag. But my list item is like a static text. It's not behaving like a anchor tag. But I want like that only. So that how we can means this particular li, this action text should be acting like a link or not. Should be acting like a link. For that purpose, in your React router DOM, we have one component is there that is like a link is the component name. So that can we get that one? Which text you want me to make this like a link? Okay, you can make this like a link by using which component, link component. So that can I write that component name? Now this is my link. Now come here. This is my link and close my link. Which one you want me to act like this? That is action or not? Yes. Okay, same. This is only the syntax. Okay, text you want me to make it like link. Okay, make it like that. Now this is the one. Okay, Saga. Okay, this is my forms. All are turned to be like link now. Now what you observe here, see, in the past my LIs are like this. Okay, now if you open this LI, see how it looks like. Okay, see this, it gives me some error. You should not use link outside the router. Okay, this is like link, right? You should have to use inside the router. So which router you want me to use now? Cache router or browser router? Can anyone tell me? My browser router or not? Okay, whatever the menu items are there, that menu items you can keep inside this browser router. Okay, inside this browser router. Why? Because my link should not keep outside the router. Now there is no issue. Okay, now see this how it looks like. Okay, see this. Now if you observe here, see li in the past action is nothing, but here, yeah, my link plays this one like an anchor or not. Okay, let's make it like an anchor or not. Agreed? Okay, perfect. Now at the time of clicking on the button, this has to change or not. Okay, change it to action, change it to fun, change it to saga like this or not. So how we can give href anchor is like href you can put it, but here there is no anchor, nothing right directly, so that you can give your path to this link. You can give the path to this link component. How we can give the path to which path you want? Okay, my action is my path. The action is my path. So how we can give it to anyone? That is this link is your component or already given by React router DOM component? React router DOM component. So that they asked me the path is like 2. Okay, the path is like a 2. Okay, so that my 2 equals to what here? Here my 2 is like what? My 2 equals to saga. See, I'm not putting like hash. Okay, I'm not putting like hash. 2 equals to forms. Okay, now if you come here, yeah, how does it look like? Yes. My href you place one. If I click on this one, okay, something wrong. Just can finish it. Yeah, you should have to. Now it's okay. Now come here. Now say this. Hung, yeah, saga, yes, forms, actions, all are working as expected or not. Okay, done. What is the next one? Now you can write your mappings. If my path is this one, which component has to load? Can we load that one? Okay, how we can load it? Through lazy loading, can we do it? Okay, how we can write the lazy loading? If you want to write the lazy loading, through lazy loading I want to import, then we have the method called lazy or not. Okay, write it. My lazy is the method. My lazy is the method. Take one callback function is an argument. Okay, it returns what? Okay, the component where it is or not. So that this is my action, this is my component or not. Finally, it returns what? One of the component. I don't want to change the name, so that can write like action. Okay, same like this. How many are there? Okay, these many components are there. Okay, here my saga. Here my here my form. Okay, now this is my saga. Okay, this is my hunk, and this is my form. This is my forms. Okay, done. Now through dynamic import, okay, if you load one component, that should be inside what suspense component or not. With the fallback as a mandatory attribute, so you can write like a suspense. Now you can write your stuff. Here you can write like my suspense. Now close this one. My mandatory property is what? Fallback like what? Loading. My fallback is like a loading or not. Here I want to map it. If you want to map, then the time component is there. Route is my component or not. Route is my component. Okay, how we can map it? Can anyone tell? If my component is this one, okay, how we can map it? Okay, my path is what? My path is like what? Action. Okay, then the which component you want me to load? My component is like action component or not? Yes or no? Okay, same like this. If my path is like an empty, okay, nothing is there. Okay, then the time also exact. Okay, I want to write like an action only or not. Okay, now next one. Now this is my tongue, and this is my saga, and this is my forms. Now when you come here, this is my tongue, right? And we add like a tongue. Okay, this is not required. What's wrong with this code? We are suspense very mode, right? Okay, my fallback. Okay, done. Okay, if my saga, okay, what do you want me to load? My saga component has to load. If it is like forms, what do you want me to load? Okay, my forms component has to load or not? Done. Okay, now can you come here? Can you check now? Yeah, the first one is like my path is like action, so my action component loaded or not? Now it's like a thunk, my thunk loaded, saga loaded, forms, all are working as expected or not? Okay, this is the way we are going to handle the routing without hash also, by using browser router component. Understand? So good. Okay, now you can integrate your Redux. Okay, Redux related stuff. Okay, what do you write first? Which folders are required? Just write it. What folders are required? Okay, skeleton you can prepare. Okay, store is required. What folder can we create with the created for store? Okay, the next one is what? The next one. I created one store. The next one. New folder, reducers. The reducers I want to write. Okay, the next one. Utils folder you can create. New folder for utils. Okay, next. Do you want me to create any other thing? Okay, not required. So can we create the next level? Can you go to the next level? What is that? First, my React application is completed. My React application has to communicate with the store. First of all, if you want to make it like, if you want to communicate with the store, first of all, my store is available to my React application or not. If my store is available, if you make like my store is like available, first of all, store is required. So can we create the store first? Okay, can we create the store first? How we can create new file? Just you can write like my store.js. Okay, can anyone tell which type of code you want me to write it? If you want to create the store, which method is there? It's coming from where? We have the method called as what? Create store is the method or not? Create store is the method. Okay, create store is the method. So can we use like create store method? And then it returns me what? It returns me your store. Okay, this store to whom you want me to give? This store to whom you want me to give? This store I want to give it to my React application or not? Okay, which component is going to represent your application? Yeah, so that can we export it? Export default by store. Okay, can you go where? Go to my index.js. Okay, now can we get it here? So how we can get it? Can anyone tell? Import store from where? From my store folder, my storage file. Okay, so how we can make it available by using how we can provide your store to my React application by using what provider. It's coming from where React product or not. So that this is my provider. Yes. The next one. The next one. Okay, here React strict mode. Why we go for this one means any deprecated methods. Deprecated is nothing but okay, just it's like okay, in the previous version we used this method. Next version I changed that method, and you should not use deprecate methods or something. If you return, then the time this guy is going to tell, hey, this is like deprecated method, don't use this one. Like this is going to provide some information to you. Any piece of code, okay, JavaScript side or React side, if you are like unusual code, then the time okay, they are going to give some warning messages. So that better to keep this React strict mode at top level always. Okay, now can you come here, how we can write it? Provider is the component. Perfect. To whom you want me to provide the data? To my app. To my app I want to provide the data. By using which key you want me to provide the data? By using store as the key. Where is my store? Store is this one only or not? Store is like this one only or not? Okay, so finally to provide the data, provide the store to my React application or not. Finally, you provide the store to my React application or not. Okay, done. Now the next one. Who want to communicate with the store? Who want to communicate with the store? Who want to communicate with the store? Can anyone? Who want to communicate with the store? Okay. Anyone has some data, that the guy has to keep the data inside the store. Okay, one guy, that guy has to communicate with the store, but he is not able to directly communicate. Okay, another one is like connect with the store to get the data. So if you want to set the data directly, no one can set it. So which help is they're going to take, reducer help or not? So that my reducer is going to communicate with the store or not to modify the data. So can we write one reducer, simple reducer, you can write it. Okay, how you can write one file, you can write it. Okay, just you can write like okay, normal reducer. Okay, my reducer. Now I want to write like multiple reducers. Okay, multiple reducers I want to write it. This is one reducer. Now how my reducer looks like, can anyone tell? Constant my reducer. Okay, open one and close one. Open one and close one. This is my reducer or not? Now can we return it? Can not return, can we export it? Export default, what is that? My reducer or not? Done. Okay, can anyone tell? Can anyone tell? My reducer take how many arguments? My reducer take how many arguments? 2 arguments. What are those? What are those? What are those? My initial data and my data which is coming from outside is nothing but the action. What action? Action data or not? So initial data always I can say like a state, and my action data is like the action data. My initial data can be get from outside now. Okay. Now can you go to my utils now? Can you go to my utils? Okay, what do you want me to write here? My initial data dot okay, which data you want me to maintain? Just you can write my constant. Okay, my constant. Okay, here my init data. My initial data is equal to, for example, now in the past is like name string like that, but now I want to use like a users. Okay, it's like a array data. These users I want to get from the database. So I want to write like this: import constant users. Okay, init. Okay, like this. Another one like this. You can write it. User init. Okay. Now can we write like okay different reducers? I want to write it, right? So can we write one proper name? This reducer I want to use for what? To update the user's data. Okay, user's data in your store. So that can I make like a user reducer. So like this, you can write one more init, one more reducer, one more init, one more reducer. This reducer responsible person to handle this data, to update, delete, what operations. Another reducer, another data, like that. Okay, so can we get the data first? Okay, how we can get it? Import from where? From my utils. Okay, init data. Which data that is users init or not? Now this is my users init. Okay, now you can write like action or type whatever it is. Finally, what you have to write? You have to return your state or not. You have to return your state or not. Okay, like this. How many reducers you can write it? Users reducer. Okay, like this, how many reducers you can write? Any number of reducers you can write. So can we combine all the reducers? Can we combine all the reducers? Okay, so where you want me to combine? If you want to combine all the reducers, we have the method, okay, called as a combine reducer is the method. Combine reducer is the method. So can we get the reducer first? Import, what is my reducer name? User reducer from where? From my users. Reducers, right? Reducers, my user reducer. Perfect. Okay. Now combine reducer is the method. You take common argument. One object is an argument. Okay, here you can write like user reducer is the key and my user reducer is the value. Then the time shorthand syntax you can write it or not. It gives me what? It gives me what? All your reducers. For now only one. In future we are going to add 2 or 3 reducers. Now all these reducers has to be in the store or not. Okay, I have a middleware also there. Okay, one of the middleware called is a logger, so that can we get that logger first. Import my logger from where? From my Redux logger library or not. Okay, it's a middleware one. So can we get the middlewares, all your middlewares? Okay, these are my middlewares. These are my middlewares. How many middlewares are there? For now, only one. Can I put like a middleware like this? Okay. Now, once I get the middleware, can we register that middleware with my store? So for good. Okay, my Redux integration is completed or not? Now, who want to set that data? That guy has to call this reducer. Okay, this reducer is going to perform some operation based on their requirement. Okay. Okay, then we'll see remaining things in next class. Okay, these classes will be end. Okay, 31st. 31st we can close. 31st. Okay, the class is on Monday only. Tomorrow there is no class. 31st is our last class. Okay, there are some topics for there. We'll discuss in the weekends. Okay, 4th and 5th, as well as if more topics are there. If you have any questions, 11th and 12th, like this. Okay, 2 weekends will take it. But daily classes, regular classes will be end on 31st. Okay, so after 26th is like our Redux part is completed. 27, 28, 29 we will complete our hooks. Okay, so that hooks 10 to end we'll see, and then test cases and everything, test cases and React Native we'll see, and 4th and 5th. So mostly 4th and 5th we can complete. Otherwise it may take like 11th. Okay, but regular classes will be end on 31st. Okay. Okay, then tomorrow there is no class. Okay, I already provided you the yesterday's videos and everything. I already provided. Okay, you people are not answering properly those questions. Just go to that video. Today's video also I will provide. Okay, just work on that one. That particular yesterday's application is there, right? Just practice 4 to 5 times. Just practice. Yeah, most of the people answered, but few people are not answered. So that just prepare it. Just prepare. Okay. Okay then. Thanks guys. Thanks for joining. Tomorrow there is no class. Class is on Monday.